Imagine you wake up to the sounds of birds instead of the alarm clock. There's no way you need to rush. You have all the time for your coffee and the breakfast. There's beautiful weather outside, so you decide to step out and take a walk to the forest. There's nobody around, there's only nature. You can walk, get your thoughts flowing, gather the inspiration around. Suddenly you see beautiful view that you want to paint. Again, there's nowhere to rush, so you can simply sit, enjoy the view, enjoy the process of painting. Happy that it's not even a noon and you already experienced so much life, seeing all the environment, nature around, and you get also your painting. You come back home and then you can take your laptop. You can choose a place you want to work from. You can work from the hammocks, you can work from the sun chair, you can work from the desk. Probably the coming back home. Mine not. Actually, I cannot work from the desk. So I prefer to be outside so I can take the laptop, work from the outside. It might not be a perfect scenario for everyone. Some people might prefer to stay in the city, but it is a perfect scenario for me. And I took some conscious decisions to follow exactly this path to make it happen. But before that, I explored many versions of creative life. I started my career in 2016, 10 years anniversary of official career, because I did some commissions back then since I was actually 18. I've never worked any other job than the art job. I'm like one of the most lucky person in the planet, I believe. But I worked on the different stuff. Like I work as an employee in-house, working 9 to 5 job in the Wuga games for 3 years. I worked on the Loving Vincent. That was also an in-house job when I had to come in every day and paint. But after spending 3 years in Wuga, I decided, okay, I want to change something. I want to try something new. I want to develop further. So I decided to become a freelancer, just to take all the other projects that I could do. And since then, since 2019, I only work remote jobs because I decided, okay, I prefer to have my own flexible schedule. I don't want to work 9 to 5. So this is what happens. Like I only started to take commission. Then I worked for different stuff, like from the book covers, comic book covers, private commissions for commercial and individual clients. Then finally, I got my dream job, Magic the Gathering, doing the cards for the game. And then I continued with my own stuff, also running my own art store, selling prints, original. I got the Patreon. At the same time, I was working art directing the project, having online store, having my Patreon, and doing commissions on the side. So eventually, it had to pop, and I got burnt out because it was simply too much for me to handle. So in 2003, I got my life completely shifted upside down. I got rid of all the work that I was doing, all the projects. I got divorced. I moved out from my apartment and I decided to become a nomad. So not having any fixed place to stay, just going when the wind would take me, literally, just with the backpack, exploring the world. And currently I stay in a tiny house in the forest, in the Netherlands. And this is truly what works for me. I am a nature person. I love being outside. This is what works for me. But it wouldn't work for everyone. Like each of us is individual. And I know some people really value the predictability of a stable in-house job. And some people value more exploration and having the feeling of flexibility with your working hours. So there's really no one correct path we can take. For some reason, many of us believe there is only one way of living or having a career. And it sounds like a linear campaign. When you go to school, then you go to uni, then you get a stable job. Then because you have a stable job, you can get a loan, you can buy a house, get married, and so on. And generally, it really works for many people because there is a reason. Many people take the most popular path because it's most predictable and stable. But it doesn't have to be the only path you're taking. Like, again, we are all different. And for some people, different things might work very differently. So there are those paths that people are not taking, or that you can see that way less people walk in that direction in the forest. But those paths can sometimes lead to dead ends, and sometimes can lead to biggest treasures that you wouldn't even expect. I think I got to know that way before by playing video games. I grew up playing MMORPGs, and for me, that was a space to have the freedom, exploration, and adventure long before I had it in real life. I didn't know it's actually possible to have this kind of freedom and open one in real life because I believe there's only one path that you can actually take. But at some point, social media era came. You could actually see that people started to share their stories, see how they live, and I started to follow some people that also led the nomad life. Like you can actually work and travel at the same time, and it is possible. So I decided I actually don't want to escape into a game anymore. I wanted my life to feel like one. So life is indeed an open world for me. And I think that also maybe applied to careers, that there's no one linear path for a career to take. And I realized that very quickly in my career path, because since my early age, I was convinced that I wanted to be an architect because I loved drawing, but you know, there was this image of an artist that is starving. If you take the art path, probably you wouldn't have that much. You wouldn't be sure that you will be actually earning any money. So I thought, okay, I like to draw. I can combine it with some more science, yeah, and I can become an architect and combine these two. But actually, by playing video games, I got inspired so much. Like I saw that, okay, if those characters are there, someone needs to design them, right? So then, by playing and by listening to music as well, by watching animations, I decided, okay, I don't want to design buildings. I actually want to create games. I want to go that direction. So this is what happened. I started, like you already know, my career path. But I was doing a lot of game art, game animation, digital painting, a lot. But then at some point, I also realized there is another way I can still explore. I'm still finding it out. Like it's been 10 years that I got my career, but I haven't settled on anything yet. I keep exploring and I keep finding my ways of living. And for example, now I'm way more drawn into traditional art and to real life experiences, like for example, light painting at the festivals or doing workshops or speaking like that, like with real people, because there's so much stuff happening online already that I feel the need of getting out and not spending time by my computer, just being out there in the real world. So yeah, these are some of the different paths I took, and some people can take. So yeah, like full time, part time studio job in house, the freelancer. You can be the content creator for social media, having creating the videos, sharing the knowledge. You can teach as well. Yeah, the workshops in schools on YouTube as well, or you can have your own business selling prints on originals. Like there's a lot of different paths that you can also combine together as well. You don't have to set it on one, and you can keep changing in between them because I would say what's most important is that you don't have to figure it out at the early level. Like you can keep changing based on your current needs in your moment in life. But what's gonna stay for sure all the time is art fundamentals. But for any career, actually, it's gonna be different kind of fundamentals. For music, it will be rhythm, music theory. For art, it will be composition, anatomy, color, and light. Like each category or direction has its own, but fundamentals will always stay. And especially now with the tools that are changing, like we have AI coming, we have different programs, we have all the work sped up. I think it's super important to still stay with the fundamentals, learn really like how things work and why they work this way. Like in art, you can generate an image, but you cannot really tweak it if you don't know the most important things like how color and light works or what's the anatomy, what's correct and understanding really. So I think it's super important to learn fundamentals, especially if you don't know yet what to follow. And if you don't know what to follow yet, I would say follow your curiosity, excitement, and flow, because these are the things that will tell you like, okay, this is the good direction. If I'm genuinely interested in the topic, I will want to uh, do more of it. It will be easier for me to do it, and you will get better at it naturally. So if you don't yet know what to do, just follow this, explore many paths, and eventually you will see that, okay, I think I like this thing more, so I will just follow that path. And there's this famous quote by Picasso: inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. So we cannot just sit and wait for it to come. You have to show up. You have to go to the studio, or you have to go out and have your painting kit with you. So if the inspiration comes, you're already there. You're prepared, right? Because if you just will wait for it to come, it may never come. Or it will come, but it will go before you actually catch it, because you still have to prepare everything. So one thing that helped me a lot is creating the systems that make things way easier to start. So, for example, for me, that was having my painting kit with me anytime. Like, if I know there is any slight chance that I can paint somewhere, I have my painting kit with me. It's reducing friction. Have the predictable routine. So, for example, yeah, if I have the morning, I know I have the morning free, I can walk out. This is my slot time for inspiration. If it strikes, I'm prepared, I'm ready. So, build the systems that will support the life that you want to have. Because discipline works way better when it's supported by the system. It's then sustainable. You don't have to push through it all the time if you make things easy for you to work. And part of this sustainability is understanding your own rhythm, because people naturally thrive in different rhythms. That's why I think the system doesn't really work for everyone, because some people will naturally be more productive in the morning, while some people will be more productive in the evening. And this is actually true. And when I understand that, I stopped forcing myself for the early schedules, because I knew that in the morning I just want to have it slow. I cannot yet start thinking and getting fast into my tasks, because I just don't feel well, you know? So I knew I had to dedicate this time to be there outside, like, so I can paint, and then after I do what I really want to do, I can actually create the work, because I know already that I'm fine. Like, I lived my life, and I don't feel like I'm suffering by staying inside. When, for example, the whole week, working day week, there is a sun outside for the weekend to come, and it's great. So another thing I realized is that nature doesn't bloom all year around, and this is the same for people. We have our own seasons when we are more productive, more alive, and we have those that we really need to rest, especially if there is one very intense project. You gotta dedicate the time to actually rest, because rest isn't the opposite of growth. Is crucial for us to function, to be able to live and not getting super burnout. Because yeah, if we do not honor the seasons, the inner seasons, and this one is especially for women, because we have that very clear. Every month we have different seasons, and from one season to another, I'm talking about the menstrual cycle, we can clearly see the change in the body and the mind. And observing ourselves and knowing about that, we can actually adjust our rhythm. So, so we avoid things like burnout, when it's actually prolonged misalignment with forcing ourselves to doing something that we actually don't have to, or if we do too much work and we don't do any rest in between those projects. So another thing is environment. So a plant won't bloom in the wrong environment, and it is actually the same for people. We have some common things like sun and the water, like plants have that in common, but different plants would also thrive in the different environments. And the environment around us shapes us way more than we can realize. And part of this is nutrition. The soil that the plants consume can be also what we consume, not in terms of food, but actually everything around us, everything that we are surrounded ourselves with, and what we consume as a content that we take from social media, for example, from the books, from the movies, or the music we are listening to. This is all part of our nutrition. And I think it's very good to be conscious to realize what kind of stuff you're taking into yourself. Do they help you grow, or they actually bring you down? And I think with social media, it's super easy to get thrown in the algorithm that they put you with the news, with all the bad stuff. And if you're not conscious of it, they can be bringing you down very quickly. Another thing is with people that we are surrounding ourselves. So the people that are closest to us, and that includes our relationship, the working environment, our friends, they will be influencing us on a daily basis so much that I think it's super important to surround yourself with people who will actually support your growth and not bringing you down. Because there are people have their own limitations and they can project them on you. And their limitations do not have to be your own limitations. So I think it's super important to think about what is actually working for you, what not, reflect on that, so you can have the inner alignment of all the environment that you're surrounding yourself with, what you are taking with you. And by creating the conscious choices, you can shape that environment and see if it's helping you or if it's bringing you down. And there's one last story now. I always was telling myself that I want to work for Disney or DreamWorks as well. I was watching the animation and it's like, that was my dream to do. And I was super fortunate to go to Los Angeles. I visited CTN conference, which is actually about animation. It's the biggest conference for animation industry. And I won a ticket to visit Disney Studios. So I went for a tour for Disney Studios, and then I saw it's office job, like office job, And I was already working at that time at Huga. I was also we were having a really cool studio, like full of colorful characters, kitchen full of different kind of stuff that you could get for free, beers for free. Like it was amazing. The studio was amazing. So I saw the Disney studio, which also looked amazing, but maybe not as much amazing as my studio in Wuga. And then I realized, like, yeah, it's still a studio job in a huge city that you have to drive through so long. And I realized that it was not my dream anymore. And it was like the dream was never a specific job, but it was a way of living. So traveling and working at the same time, exploring the planet. So I'm not here to tell you which path is correct, because as you said, everyone is individual. Some people will generally thrive in the systems that are built for them, that are stable, predictable, and some people will prefer the exploration and the adventure. And that is completely fine. I think it's super important just to be conscious of that, what is working well for you and what's not. So the best path is not universal, it's your own. Thank you. There's this last slide that it's also included on my website in the QR code, but you can also take a picture. I think it's good to take those questions, get a journal, like notebook, actual notebook, not the computer, sit somewhere in the calm place and ask yourself those questions. I will not be reading that. Like if you take the picture, you can read them on later and just reflect on that. I think it's really good to do this exercise. So yeah, you will find all the slides on my website with the questions. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. I made it on time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you have any questions, feel free. You're
Many are probably interested that once you went freelance, how did you come about your gigs now that the people are probably very afraid that okay, I'll leave my job and go freelance. How do I how do I get work? So you probably have some good stories or good stuff.
Yes, yes. So, well, first thing, I saved money because I knew if I don't have any money saved, I will be stressing too much of getting the work quickly. But I already had an online presence. I think it's super for a freelancer. It's so important to show your work out there, show that you're actually accessible to work for people. And since I already had some following and I was already doing some commissions while working in the studio job, I kind of felt, I wouldn't say I felt confident to do it, but I thought, okay, if it doesn't work out, I can always go back to studio. But I was super fortunate. I was super fortunate because exactly the next day that I announced that I am freelancing, one person came to me to do a commission of the D&D group. It was actually there on one of the slides. There was a painting of a D&D group. And once I've done this commission, he recorded giving it to his D&D group. And that video went viral completely. So after that, I was thrown with the emails and the commissions. Like I couldn't even handle emails myself. I had to ask my partner to help me to sort them because it was simply too much. And I already also had the tendon inflammation. So I think it was all too much for me at the time. But yeah, I was quite lucky with the commission. But I think that's why it's important to be out there, to show yourself, to post. Even way before that I started freelancing, I already started running my Instagram and Twitter and showing my stuff to people and getting some commissions before I only relied on commissions. I hope that answers the question. No? Thank you so much.